A short walk from Kennington Station, you'll find a London landmark with a dark past. This is Lambeth Workhouse, where many of the city's poor, disabled, or ill residents ended up in the 1800s. The idea, in theory, was that Londoners without the means to work or afford accommodation would have a place that provided bed, board, and clothes for them. In practice, however, these workhouses became a brutal symbol of the inequality of Victorian London. And if you found yourself unlucky enough to end up in the workhouse, then here's an idea of what you could expect on your first night there. First, you'd wash the muck of London's streets off your skin in a bath that resembled a dark brown soup. Then, you'd be sent to bed on a straw pallet that pressed painfully against your bones. Oh, and don't be surprised if your bed is stained with the blood of its previous residents. Then, throughout the night, you'd steal any sleep you could amongst the coughing fits of other guests lying alongside you, all while trying to ignore the stench hanging all around you in the air. The next morning, you'd wake up at the crack of dawn for breakfast, a thin, tasteless gruel that only just filled your stomach. Finally, you get stuck into your tasks for the day, either spending hours upon hours turning a crank to grind corn, or thrashing your body back and forth to pulverize stone, or even unpicking meters and meters of thick rope until your fingertips bled. And then, you do the same thing the next day, and the next, and the next, all without any compensation in return except for the tattered clothes on your back and leaking roof over your head. Now, leaving the workhouse was voluntary, but the alternative was spending your nights sleeping on London's cold, dirty streets with little to eat and nowhere to stay warm. That meant that for many labourers in low-skilled or unskilled jobs who often didn't earn enough money to afford housing, the workhouse was the only option. And as for single women, whose options for work were even more limited in Victorian times, the workhouse was often the only way to secure food and shelter for themselves and their children. Over time, reforms were put in place that meant the workhouses fell out of use. Many fell into disrepair or were absorbed by the NHS, and over the years some have even been redeveloped into flats or offices like this being the old water tower that sits right next to the Lambeth Workhouse. But their heavy presence is still felt as you look upon their imposing facades, wondering what these walls would say if they could speak. And the buildings serve today as a lasting memory of the grim reality of life in Victorian London. Follow for more hidden London history.